This is Calicat, the Calicat's turn. This is a review of Masters of the Universe 2026. It's been 39 years since a full-blown theatrical Masters of the Universe movie. Yes, I didn't so much have the toys as a kid, so much I them later when the newer shows came out in 2020, 2021. Some of them. And then the 2024 line. The newer shows. Some of the newer ones. So, yeah, I knew it existed. I watched the show when I was a kid. The Spectre Creative Show did an excellent exploration of from the vantage point of a production guy on the He-Man series as a whole, and the backstory and all that. So I don't need to go over that, except that basically, in a nutshell, Mattel was trying to do Conan. They couldn't get the rights to it, so they're like, let's do our own version of Conan. Some of the critics that are dissing the movie are dissing it because it's too much like Thor Ragnarok or Conan, but no, it's the other way around. Guys, yeah. Where do you think Thor Ragnarok got the ideas from? Anyways, yeah. I would say it isn't doing that, actually. You don't have... Yeah, the villains are different. Everything's kind of different. It's not even remotely similar to Thor Ragnarok and Love and Thunder. I think mainly that the people that are butthurt about it are butthurt that there's a female warrior in it, even though Tila was a female warrior and She-Ra was a female warrior. They need to get over themselves. Yeah. So, and there's a boss lady in it too. It was like, come on, guys, really? I'm surprised Kevin Smith has not reviewed it, but his story was controversial as well because he didn't want to. Because he did one of the Masters of the Universe shows that was very derisive, and he didn't want to comment on the new one, apparently. So he's not commenting. We'll see whether he comments. Him and Mark Bernardin, they might comment actually. Angry Joe Show has just commented, and Stone Gremlins and some of the other ones have already commented. So I guess the review for this movie should be not biased or based on the other reviews of the movie, because what they're doing is they're trying to compare it to other stuff that came later. That's in some cases there's a couple other guys. There's like a couple of other ones that are not enjoying it, just to not enjoy it. It's the first 1987 movie. They didn't have enough of a budget, Frank Langella and Dolph Lundgren, so they were like, oh, let's just film most of it in Los Angeles. That was an infamous thing. This movie plays with that, but thankfully not for too long. It's over 2 hours long, but it's not slow in any way. The audience for the Friday premiere at the Gallery at Roseville wasn't a large audience for that early in the morning, but it was early in the morning, and it's the beginning of summer, so expect audiences to show up later. I tend to agree with the audience more than the critics in the Rotten Tomatoes, and that did show up. It's not bad at all. It's perfectly fine, and I'm not a shill for Mattel any more than I was for the Barbie stuff. But it's Travis Knight who did the Bumblebee movie, and he succeeded in doing a adaptation of some of the He-Man lore in the movie, some of the sword lore and stuff. The comic books too, which is interesting. Thought for sure at one point they were going to do the whole Masters of the Universe Skeletor gets the sword. They didn't do that. They teased it, but they didn't do that. They didn't quite go there. The newer stuff from Netflix. Now they've signed on. The newer stuff from Netflix did do that in two different shows. The weird CGI one and the Kevin Smith one, the Savage He-Man and the sword thing, and they sort of felt like they had to condense that idea and save that for later. The original Skeletor. I guess Jared Leto would be problematic as it's Jared Leto, but because he's chewing scenery, Skeletor as the villain, he does fine. Some of his lines are hilarious, which is good. Some of the critics were complaining about the comedic nature. Have they watched the original cartoon? I don't think they have. The comedy's fine. It got a little much though at times. They did that joke about fisting quite a bit, too many times. But other than that, with the adult audience getting the joke and the kid audience going, what? Well, it's one of those jokes where they say, "Oh, we'll tell you when you're older." Um, but yeah, there's a guy with a metal fist. It's called Fisto. There's a guy named Ram Man. They also do that joke, the Ram Man joke. In one of the animated ones, it was Ram Mam. They made it a girl. In the weird one, the power one, He-Man, the Power Master of the Universe. The weird CG one where his head's too small, even on the figure. I didn't buy any of those. Did I buy the? I might have bought the. Did I end up buying the Skate Girl or not? I don't know if I did. I know the other one, the other reissues, they had like the He-Man, the Battle Cat, sort of, and Skeletor, and Sorceress, and Teela. They didn't have a She-Ra because they couldn't get permission. And yeah, they're spoilery. There is a cameo. There's a couple of cameos, but there is a cameo dealing with that copyright that apparently has been solved. Let's say it's not as big a cameo as the internet is going on about. It's mostly a name drop, and then somebody turning around. That's all it is. It could be anybody later on. I think mainly Travis was trying to do a spoof of the Frank Langella head popping up thing from the first He-Man movie. I will return. That's because it's more or less what he's doing. And back in the 80s, when the He-Man and She-Ra movie came out, definitely went and saw that because it was awesome. Yeah. but yeah, in the 80s. So yeah. So but this is yeah, not that really. Yeah. So here we have. Yeah, I can't really go over the movie without going over spoilers. So yeah, so we have our story begins on Eternia, which is good. Getting that it's Thor Ragnarok. The only way that would work is if they were seeing, okay, the apocalypse part and the dad part, kind of like in Thor Ragnarok, kind of. But in the Kevin Smith show, Randor's still alive. Yeah. and He-Man goes into the other realm, and all that comes back. Eternos and all that. But yeah, that's lore from the show. Yeah, they thought of it first, and I know the Kevin Smith movie came out later. I'm talking about the lore in the '80s comic book, as well as the show. The other lore, they didn't kill anybody in the original OG stories. They kept the lore the way it was. They didn't. So yeah, they have some of the characters done up in the modern outfits attacking Eternia. Young He-Man is then taken to Castle Grayskull with and told to hang on to the sword after a bunch of other stuff. But Idris Elba plays Man at Arms. In the original, it was someone else. Maybe they're complaining that they race cast a different. Who cares whether it's a different guy or not? Doesn't matter. But yeah, it's like so it's Idris Elba. That's funny. And then they go into the. Then He-Man is transported to a portal with the sword, as about 10 years old, and then we cut back to the future. Spoiler review. He's on Earth. Yes, there's a scene where they're on Earth for about 20 minutes. Seems like about 20 minutes. He's trying to convince people that he's like from Eternia. A date, and then a gym guy, played by a cameo by the original He-Man from the movies, Dolph Lundgren. Cameo in it. But everybody knew about that like 6 months ago, so I'm not spoiling anything. But yeah, he works at somehow he's gotten a job. He has a job at I guess at an HR firm. The HR firm itself. So he works as a human resources person at like a company that does that. So they can't just fire him right away. It's an HR firm. They have those. Yeah, so like a Hal Kenyon or something back in the day. I'm not sure how he would have a job or fingerprints or anything like that. Not sure how a 10-year-old would survive on the Earth in this time period, but they just suspend disbelief or something like that. Yeah, so he grabs the sword from, you've seen in the trailer, he grabs it. And he's then arrested. And that's all in there. That was in the trailer. That was in the scene that we saw the weird scene, the freeway chase scene that we saw. Doing that, and then they had like a guy in a Beastman suit running around. And yeah, that's a Beastman. It's supposed to be Beastman. Yeah, okay. Yeah, he kind of looked like him. And he's attacking him and stuff. Of course, all of the effects, they had to, they could just, yeah, there were effects. There had to be some CG effects just because the muscles are real, but they wouldn't really be throwing cars around. So that scene, which annoyed some fans, that there's a 20 minutes on Earth, but the rest of it is on Eternia. So there you go. Teela quickly shows up and they fight the Beastman and go back to Eternia. Eternia has been taken over by Skeletor and his minions, and they have imprisoned the king and queen and everyone else in the dungeons at Snake Mountain. The Castle Grayskull looks great. Snake Mountain looks great. Eternia, it's spot on. Chef's kiss. It's good. There's the only way that, Thor Ragnarok had a completely different series of plots. Thor Ragnarok had Odin disappear in the beginning of the movie, and then he goes to the planet. It's completely different. And then there's a bad guy lady, but they were inspired by the He-Man cartoon when they did Thor Ragnarok. So it's not the other way around. It's like when they made some scenes about the Wizard and the Apprentice, made a big fuss about Lord of the Rings. Oh, they're totally copying the Wizard and Apprentice guy from Star Wars. No, they're not. Lucas read Tolkien. Come on. Yeah, that's what happened. So here we have cross-pollination. They brought back the Conan-like barbarian-like copycat movie idea. This is like a glorified big-budget version of a Roger Corman ripoff of Conan, and I'm all on board. Okay, so cool. So they go back there and they do the forest scene that's been in both the cartoon version and the update version. They do reference a little bit the Princess of Power stuff, but they reference it. They don't directly go there until that end credit sequence. They kind of give Teela that role for a while because that's what they're used to in the other version, and that's fine. They do the flying rotary ship thing, the cool space battle. The battle scenes are really well done. not too dark, not too saturated. There were, however, scenes where there was line of sight issues. Whenever they had them have to interact in a room like the dungeon and some of the other places, they have some line of sight problems. That worked out right there. Doing the soap opera thing with the light guy out of focus and the dark guy in focus. A little bit of that. Because the digital cameras in a poorly lit situation is going to do that. So some of that's in there. It's in the movie. Oddly enough, that wasn't in the movie in Mortal Kombat, the remake, Mortal Kombat 2. It's not. They deliberately didn't screw up line of sight. This one does a little bit. but yeah. So we have. They have to go on a quest and save Eternia and go to the dungeon and figure out a way out of the dungeon. And yeah, they kind of do the whole gag where the prison break. These bars are impenetrable or made out of this steel or whatever. That old gag from old fantasy movies and westerns. Well, the rock around the impenetrable steel, that's just rock. So if you push the gate, it'll fall over. Well, that's clever. Sure. Well, you got a guy with a skull face running around. Jared Leto chewing scenery. I don't really know too much about the other one. Alison Brie was having fun too, sort of. But yes, the other ones were doing their. Yeah, I think Teela. Only drawback to the Teela character is that she's a bit too short in the movie. Teela should be a little taller. That's all. A little taller, more Amazonian looking. But I guess they figured, that's oh well. But yeah, that's the only thing. I didn't care that. Okay, she's probably adopted by Men-at-Arms because clearly they don't even remotely look alike in any way. Oh yeah, he's a big burly guy. She's petite, but with some muscle tone, toned like a swimmer or archery person or something. I guess the main actor worked out to play the role, and so they put him in the shirt to cover up the hole. But yeah, I mean, it seems to work. There's nothing wrong with it. It was cool. It was fine. There were some nice song callbacks. Some people are comparing it to the Flash Gordon movie from 1980, including a Queen-like song in there. That's the universe. But it's like, it kind of was though. Flash Gordon 1980 and Conan in early 81, I think it was 81. They both inspired He-Man. So it's just that the other stuff inspired the later thing. Yeah. Also the it's like when the internet was all a buzz about the mysterious He-Man sent away the Savage He-Man, which looks like Conan, sent away box top character He-Man. I had a relative, one of my oldest nephew, David. He won one of those. So there's like 2 or 3 people that won one of those. He's one of them. I don't know if probably doesn't have it anymore. But David, back in the day, he won one of them. I remember he won one. He had one of those. He won the Savage He-Man. But yeah. So he was one of the 4 or 5 people that got one. Yeah. So there's some other people that got one, but he got one. Yeah. So yeah. There's. Are they pining for a Moss Man? Because the story has nothing to do with yeah, I don't want to spoil it too much. But yeah, basically they do the fight thing. Skeletor gets a hold of the sword, and he's going to use it to have to get the power, which in the other multiverse would make him a master of the universe, and he'd be like all powerful, right? But like, it doesn't work out that way. And then other stuff happens that I won't give away. But it's consistent with the comic books and consistent with the later shows and the 2012 update. as well. Not so much the 2021-2022 update, although there's some references to it. So it is referenced. But the Kevin Smith stuff was not that far off. It was just different. I wouldn't like that. It was different. Obviously, he fixes it. Like, you're supposed to go with it until you get to the end of the series. It was meant to be like a mini-series. This one is meant to be a movie. It's clearly a movie. It's clearly staged like a episodic movie, with which each little segment kind of like you're watching 4 hours of the four half-an-hour episodes of cartoon, which is probably what they were getting at. But yeah, the 4 half-an-hour episodes of the cartoon with connective tissue. Yeah, so He-Man, Masters of the Universe. The Earth stuff makes sense in the story. I wouldn't have gone there. I would have done it completely differently, but yeah, then again, there wouldn't be as much action. Right? But yeah, Jared Leto, of course, is problematic as an actor, being in the Tron Ares and other stuff, and he's problematic. But he does well in the story, and he's completely covered by the CGI prosthetic thing. You can't tell it's him. And it is misogynistic in it. You think the right wingers, also people complaining about it, would like that. He's kind of mean to his people. But yeah, the story, and they're like wrestling action figure Conan villains and stuff. It's gonna be goofy. It's gonna be weird. If they're complaining that it's weird, that's not a good complaint. It's not valid. It's gonna be weird. The only drawback was some of the jokes don't land. That's all. Campia show didn't like it terribly too much. I bet Robert Burnett did though. I'm not sure what he said about it yet. Didn't look at his review. But yeah, it's perfectly fine. There were no glitches with the battle scene, the fight scenes. Like how they referenced that there's a robot that gets damaged, and reference that, and the other robot that they made with the see-through parts robot. That thing is one of the characters. Yeah, they make her into the what's that see-through robot character? There's some yeah. Cringer's okay, and there's several cameos at the end credits. It's not just we got sort of a She-Ra. We got a PSA from Orko. I was like, oh no. Great. I think they got the guy that played Orko on the Kevin Smith one to do the Orko. Sounded like him. Because they couldn't get the original. I think the original guy's gone. So they got the Smith guy to do Orko. He's only at the end. And then there's another cameo with where they do a Calcat ending where Evelyn finds Skeletor's skull and does Hamlet. Picks him up. And she does the joke, I want to give you a little head. Which is stuff. Yes, Calcat and Mark Carton. Yes, a little bit of a story. He did a joke like that with a C-3PO head. Yeah. And they in fact did that joke in the movie. They had one of them. They did a BJ joke in the movie when Bram Man and Mechanic were gonna fight the bad guys, and they go, "Give them head," and they're like, "Oh, I didn't mean to say it like that." You know what I mean? We don't. Yes. Must be He-Man. Yeah. Sure. It's perfectly valid. It's PG-13. It's not as intense as Mandalorian Grogu. There are intense scenes, but it's PG-13. Yeah. It's Well, they all heard about that boss lady. She's only only in 2 scenes. Come on. Yeah, it's like they're supposed to be, yeah, like heroic, muscly characters. They're supposed to be Amazonian like fantasy characters, powers and stuff. The sorcerer's bird. Oh no. Oh, cool. Oh, cool. I wouldn't say it. The audience is saying it's 89%. I'm gonna take off the comments though, because I don't want comments. You, because it just came out. Also, someone's gonna complain. Oh, you didn't get some of these events right. This is not meant to be a synopsis. It's a review. It's thoughts about after the movie. It's not a synopsis, and I can't show footage from it. It's like, oh, why can't you show like clips in the background? People ask that online. It's like I can't show clips in the background because I cannot show copyrighted clips on my videos, and I don't. I can't show footage from the trailer, or whatever, footage from the movie. YouTube would flag that. Yeah, the Rantcast blog review channel. It does not have the content. Oh, no one else's content. So yeah, there it is. So they gave it 89%, and then the critics gave it 69%, 70%. The critics don't love it, but somewhere in the middle, I would say. It's not 4 stars. It's 3.5. It's good. It's a solid, cool fantasy turn your brain off movie. What it does well in terms of the lore. So nothing wrong with the lore in the movie. They had 2 hours to tell a story, and they wanted to tell parts of some of the stories from the newer stuff because they figured, all right, well, we have to do the next generation, the Zoomers that watch the 2010s one, and the ones that did the 2020s one, they're children. We have to reference their stuff, not the OG comics so much. I'd be interested to know what Spectre Creative thinks of it, whenever he gets around to it. Because he did eventually review the Kevin Smith one, and he was like, "Yeah, I get what they were doing." But yeah, clearly they had to CGI Leto's face. It's clearly a mask. Mask with a skull face. It begs the question: how would he even be alive? His face is a skull. Oh well. And it's nothing like the CYK Beastman plus Skeletor music video from 12 years ago. 13 years ago. More than that. Or at least posted 12 years ago. Yeah, it's nothing like that. Beastman, Skeletor, Beastman, and the Havoc stick thing. Yeah, the lore doesn't. Yeah, it's a Conan ripoff. It always was. So what are you guys worried about? Yeah, Thor. The only way that's like Thor Ragnarok is there's an evil lady in it, which Thor Ragnarok borrowed liberally from Evil Lyn to begin with. They got it because that guy was totally ripping off. I'm gonna make her look like Evil Lyn from E-Man. So yeah, from the cartoon and the 2010 story. So yeah, I'm gonna make it look like that because they'll never do a live action He-Man movie. If compared to our movie, it's not even remotely similar. Yeah, okay, apocalyptic, but then repaired Eternia, but that isn't what happened at the end of Thor Ragnarok. At the end of Thor Ragnarok, they blow up the planet. That didn't happen in this one. So that's completely different. The ending's different. It's more like the end of Conan. The Conqueror. But the second Conan. It's like Flash Gordon. It's like, the Roger Corman ripoffs of it. Yeah, 3.5 stars. So that's a solid 78%, 79%. 3.5 stars out of 5, 78%. That's a 8 out of 7, 8 out of 10, roughly. Yeah, so it's fine. It's perfectly fine. Go see it in theaters. Masters of the Universe. Yeah, this version. I'd be interested to know what Kevin thinks about Kevin Smith. I'd interested to know what you would think of this movie. I think you'd like it. Well, for a mini-series, you got to do more. But for a movie, you don't have to do more. I thought it was a better structured movie than Mandalorian and Grogu. There were goofy scenes like that in Mortal Kombat 2, and there were dark scenes in that one too. But I think this one handled the saturation well, and it's pretty looking. The only musical cue stingers that kind of don't work is that at times it feels like you're pulled out of place from the rock music that's part of the score by how they. But come on. So at times the musical score will kick in and ratchet up, and it'll match. But sometimes it doesn't match, and the song is just there, just as if they decided, oh, we need to have some of this music in here because no one's talking at this point; they're fighting, and we need to cover that up. That was a little weird. They needed your score needs to blend in with the action that's going on. There were some moments where that was like, okay, what were they doing in post production? Where they're just like, oh, play some more of the songs in here. They do reference a little bit of the bars of the OG, da 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 da, a little bit. Unlike in the Fall Guy remake, where they didn't play the song at all, not once. At least not in the trailer. I did not see the movie. Maybe they did later on, but I don't think they did. Don't remake the Fall Guy. Stop, guys. Don't remake Roadhouse. No, you don't need to do that. Suppose next they'll do a Flash Gordon. Actually, they could. It has been a while since there's been a Flash Gordon. They were going to do a Babylon 5. Not a Babylon. Well, they were going to do a Babylon 5, but it ended up being like a radio show. And they were going to do a Stargate, but they passed on that too. Yeah, and there's a Voltron that they produced, but apparently it's so crappy they're gonna put it directly on streaming because it's so bad. It's like, okay, yeah, try harder, guys. It's not that hard to make a Voltron movie. Come on. I know they had to struggle with the Black Hole movie. Yeah, so He-Man, yeah, I think they did well with what they had and what they were told to do. I think the studio might have interfered a little bit. But I think it works, though. I think it generally works. It's weird that it's taken them almost 40 years to do another one. But I guess the Netflix shows inspired Amazon, oddly enough, to do this movie. Amazon. So it's the Lord of the Rings people did it. It's the Lord of the Rings people. From the new Lord of the Rings, which I have not watched. I haven't watched any of the new Rings of Power stuff. I just haven't. It's not really the Silmarillion, it's their own thing, so it's like, it's and it just because the sword of power, the sword, yes, he held aloft his magic sword. They did play that Daiahio song, that's kind of funny. But that's actually a meme from the internet. That's not in the show, guys. It's not like Love and Thunder either. Anyway, so there's my route.